This episode of the BJJ Foxcast is brought to you by BioPro. BioPro is an all-natural alternative to prescription human growth hormone, which aids in recovery, anti-aging, metabolism, libido, immunity, skin health, cognition, sleep, and stress. Just one vial per day provides a substantial boost to all of these growth factors. Okay, so that's what they want me to say. Here's what I know as an aging grappler. I've been using BioPro Plus and the nighttime variant, BioPro Plus Cortisleep, for several months, and it feels like I've grown a third lung. My gas tank is noticeably bigger, my recovery is faster, and I'm back on the mats much quicker, not just between training sessions, but between rounds. Now you can get $30 off your first order of BioPro when you use the code FOXCAST at www.bioproteintech.com. That's code FOXCAST for $30 off your first order at www.bioproteintech.com. Thank you, BioPro. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the BJJ Foxcast. I am your host, Alex Martinez, and today I have my new friend, Mike Reilly, a purple belt under Brad Acosta and under Roberto Maya, correct? Got it. Owner of the GenXrefined website, clothing line. You do a lot of different things on that. Talk about that a little bit, like what your clothing brand is all about.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Really happy to sit here and talk about two things I love,
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu and rock music,
Yeah.
which all kind of came together one night, and I had an idea. It was the Gen X Grappling Club, because
Okay.
as you know, being an older guy at Jiu-Jitsu, the younger guys liked to make fun, and they were using the old guy Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm like, you know what? Gen X Grappling Club sounds pretty cool. So I literally was like, let me get a logo created, and the rest is kind of history. And it was supposed to be an outlet for me to, let go of my creativity of all these ideas I would get in my head. And then it has grown into this. Now I'm about to release a gi. I have 9 different rash guard designs.
Wow.
And it's kind of taken a life of its own, of simply taking the two things I love, like I said, jiu-jitsu and rock and roll, and bringing them together. And I get to do it with one of my best friends who I've known my whole life, and he does all my printing and fulfillment. And it's been a wild ride, to be honest with you.
Dude, that's fantastic. So you have some control over the printing and fulfillment. That's cool. You have a close connection, because I know a lot of people that try to start clothing brands, and they either get burnt out because they have to do everything, printing included. And then the fulfillment's got to be tough because, I mean, you got your website's really good, and I encourage everybody to go to, tell everybody what the website is, because I don't want to screw it up.
GenXrefined.com.
Yeah, so I was on that website, really impressed with it. Super easy to purchase stuff. You have a lot of great ideas, Tell me about where those ideas come from. Actually, let's start from the very beginning. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up on Long Island,
Okay.
a town called Babylon, which, if you know Long Island, is basically dead center of the island. Go all the way to the bottom, South Shore. Lived there till I was about 30 something. So, and ended up moving down to North Carolina. I had always wanted to live here, and decided back in 2004 to move down here to North Carolina. So yeah, I grew up Long Island guy. My dad was a union plumber. My mom worked in school. So, kind of this humble beginnings of blue collar family. And and ended up in North Carolina.
What brought you to Carolina? What was it, a job or something that brought you out there?
It was a job, but funny story. Well, I think it's funny. My grandmother used to live in Key West in the winter, in Germany in the summer, and my crazy dad every February would drive from Long Island to Key West.
Yeah.
And basically either one shot or two shot, which, if you know anything about that drive, it's about 24 hours.
Yeah.
And this is started in the 70s, where he would literally smoke cigarettes the whole time and drink coffee. But we always stopped in North Carolina, and I would put my shorts on for whatever reason. My parents were like, it's only 50 degrees out here. I'm like, it's 20 degrees warmer than New York.
Yeah.
So I put shorts on. So I really kind of contribute to always wanting to live here from kind of my early experiences. Then I started going to the Outer Banks when I started getting older. I would always hang out in Myrtle Beach. Yes, I realize there's a difference between North and South Carolina, but
Yeah.
kind of fell in love with it back then. And I'm in IT. Back then, I was a network engineer and wanted to get off Long Island and ended up landing a job down here. And kind of the rest is history. I've been here for almost 20 years now.
I love it, man. So are you familiar with like the, obviously you're familiar with the Outer Banks, but are you familiar with like Manio and all of that area? Like you go
Yes.
into like Kill Devil Hills and all that stuff. Well, I lived in Virginia Beach for off and on for about 10 years, maybe a little longer. I had a house there. And I was a service technician right around 2003 to about 2006 in that area. And one of my accounts was the courthouse in Manio. So I had to make that drive from Virginia Beach up to, up there. And it was brutal because I can't remember what the road is going there from Virginia, but it's like 45 miles an hour through little towns.
It's terrible. You literally have to go down to go back up.
Yes.
And especially if you're doing that during the summer when it's basically a 2-lane road in and out, it just gets backed up forever.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah,
it was awful.
awful.
But I loved it out there. Sometimes I'd ride my motorcycle out there. In my younger days, when I was single, I would ride my motorcycle out to the Outer Banks and stuff from Virginia, from Norfolk, Virginia, where I was stationed.
Oh, nice.
But yeah.
So no more motorcycle riding for you now that you're not younger anymore?
No, man. I actually got rid of it. Gosh, man. Well, I rode it for maybe 2 or 3 years, and then life happened. I transferred duty stations, couldn't take it with me or whatever, or didn't want to, and I just kind of grew out of that. I was tired of sharing lanes with people, that just kind of they just come over.
I don't know either. I have no desire to ride a motorcycle. So I get it.
Yeah, and someone gave me some really good advice. It was an old biker guy. He was like, just ride like everybody's trying to kill you, and you're going to be fine. I'm like, oh, that sounds fantastic.
Words to live by.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, that's where, so, it's very charming down here. Once I moved here, it felt like I lived here forever and ended up. So, where the story is going on Long Island, I had a next door neighbor who I literally don't remember not knowing him. I think he didn't have a brother. I only had a sister. So we grew up next to each other. His name is Jay. He ended up coming down here before me. But I had always talked to him about I wanted to do something, right? I wanted a side hustle. I'm in IT sales, and I was like, I want something for myself. So I kind of came to him with this design, this first design, and said, what do you think? He's like, hardest thing is just, generating sales. He's like, there's guys that go an entire year that don't sell one t-shirt. And having him doing all my printing, all my fulfillment was really a lifesaver. And I don't know if I wouldn't have made it this far without him, because I didn't want to use the Printfuls of the world. I started, messing around with that and the drop shipping, and you lose all control of quality control.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to set up where you want the design on the t-shirt, and if it's not right, guess what? They don't check for you. It's all going out. So you could have 50 t-shirts go out, and this logo is too high, too low, maybe it's crooked. So having Jay, he's been doing this for a long time. He helped me. We checked out all the different fabrics, find something that I would love to wear that he would wear. And then it came down to getting rash guards, and I'm like, do you want to do fulfillment? And he's like, I'm like, I can't have this stuff in my house. My wife is going to kill me. So he's like, yeah, I'll do all fulfillment. So now we've kind of created this whole cycle of, we're best friends. We've known each other our whole lives. Yeah. Now I get to see him every week. We're running kind of a business together, and we're having a lot of fun doing what we love.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And it's cool doing it with a buddy, you know what I mean? That's, got some stake in the game. I think that's really cool, man. A little skin in the game. But where, a lot of the designs that I see are, like you said, rock and roll and jiu-jitsu, they kind of mesh, right? And I love that because I blast like metal music when I'm rolling. I'm not really a big reggae guy, you know what I mean? And people come into my academy, they're like, whoa, that's different. I'm like, yeah, what are you going to do? Did you just grow up listening to metal, or did you grow up like, were you a musician?
I was a big metal. No. Okay. I mean, I took guitar lessons when I was like 20 and it was kind of cool. I started learning a little Nirvana, and then he
Yeah.
wanted to get into music theory, and I was like, nope, I'm out. Like, I just want to stand on. I mean, you're 20 years old. You're like, I want to hold a guitar on stage and have chicks kind of drool over me.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then we're gonna learn music theory, and I was like, this is where I put down the guitar. So, Jay, like I said, Jay and I, we were metalheads.
Yeah.
I was 13 years old. I went with Jay and another guy. We took a bus to Nassau Coliseum by ourselves,
Mm.
and I saw Iron Maiden, Seventh
Oh,
Son of the Seventh Son tour,
nice. Yeah.
and that was it. I mean, teenage angst fulfilled. You know, people bum rushing, jumping over the boards, M80s going off. It was,
Yeah.
you got Bruce Dickinson singing, Eddie's coming out, and I was like, this is it. This
Yeah.
this is my. So that's kind of how I got into the whole metal scene back then.
That's cool, man. I remember the first time I went to see Metallica. That was so freaking cool, man.
Which tour?
Oh gosh, it was like 91, so it would be the Black Tour.
Yeah, Black. I was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
That was
were you?
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
When they played one,
Oh,
I remember it was like your whole body was just this whole like feeling of, oh, this is
yeah.
crazy.
And the next time I saw them, I was much older. I was in my 30s, late 30s. No, yeah, no, I was in my 40s. Had to be in my 40s. So, no, maybe 30s, late 30s. Anyway, but so James Hetfield singing, and they have this like it's in Vegas, and they had this giant flat stage and microphones everywhere. So they're like facing the crowd, no matter where they were. You know, they're always one song is facing one side. You know, the other side's not. But he's in between songs, and he points at this little kid that's in the front row, and he's like, you like this stuff, really? And he goes, where are your parents? He goes, right there. And then he goes, well, someday we'll be playing for your kids. And everybody goes nuts, and so I believe him though. They don't show any signs of slowing down. So yeah.
No, they don't. Yeah, so metal music has always been a part of my, I think, especially if you grew up back then. I'm not sure how old you are, but I'm pretty sure we're pretty close in age, right? It was just this big. If you remember music back then, and you go through and look at Billboard 100 in like 1988, there literally is no like pop music, country music. It is all like, you look at the charts and you have Whitney Houston sitting next to Def Leppard, sitting next to maybe Metallica or somebody else. It was just this wild, wild west of music. You had Milli Vanilli, you had all this pop crap. So like metal, like I remember I would hear King Diamond, I would hear Metallica. I was a huge Megadeth fan.
Oh,
back
nice.
then.
Yeah.
It was just like this call of, I need to listen to this music.
Yeah.
But I still loved Tom Petty. I still, you had this great balance of really good music, and you can literally kind of choose your own adventure of being, maybe you want to be a metalhead, but maybe you get home and you're like, I kind of want to listen to Pink Floyd or something to chill out with. So it was just a really cool time to be a fan of music back then.
Yeah. So you and I'm 51. So you and I came in right at the end of 8 tracks, right? When they still had a lot of vinyl out there, and then cassettes, of course, right? And then when CDs came out, you're like, holy crap, this is really cool. But what was the first album you ever bought? Like, you purchased it, your money?
Twisted Sister.
Yeah, same here, dude.
And it opened up the street cat came up, and Dee Schneider's face. He's from Long Island, actually. He's a Massapequa. Filed his teeth down. Crazy bastard. Wow. But yeah, I remember I went to the record store and I bought that album. The other one I vividly remember, so I don't remember which one came in order. Iron Maiden Live After Death, double album.
Ooh,
so it's
nice.
Probably $17 back then, which I don't know what that equates to with inflation, but it is not cheap now.
No, not at all, man. Yeah, that's cool. So talk to me about the designs. Were you always an artist or anything like that? Because the designs are pretty cool.
No. So just to be perfectly clear, all these designs, they are mine in the sense of find this picture, but I have the designers who draw it. But no, I've always had a creative side, I'll be honest with you. But my first design outside of just Gen X Grappling Club is the Rollaway, which is still my favorite design. It's the 2 skeletons. He's doing the knee cut pass, and there's graffiti in the background. I literally sent that to a guy I had never met before. I found him on Instagram, and his name is 47 Kills. You should follow him. He does some amazing artwork. And I said, I have an idea for a design. I want to take things that I love. And I remember from being a kid, New York City subway, graffiti, like things that really kind of shaped my life, and I want to mash them up with jiu-jitsu and my favorite guard pass, which is knee cut pass.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay. And I sent him some reference designs, and he sent it back, and I was like, I can't believe this. I'm like, this is absolutely amazing. He took my vision and turned it into probably one of my best designs that I think we have on the site. Came out an awesome rash guard, and that's kind of what started this whole thing of, I would think I'd literally be listening to a song and I'm like, oh, Enter Sandman. Oh yeah. How about Rear Naked Choke?
Yeah.
You're going to sleep. Enter Sandman. And these ideas would just start popping in my head. And my wife is like, where is this coming from? I'm like, I don't know. It just would literally just pop up in my head. So, that's how this design, again, huge fan of, this is Blooming Bones, huge fan of Grateful Dead. So I love anything Skull and Roses, kind of has the Guns N' Roses vibes to it. Not that they're one of my favorite bands. Obviously, I like them, but they're okay. But yeah, it's just been this whole thing of, and people reaching out to me too, hey, can you do this type of shirt? I had a guy, he's like, can you do a Sepultura? I don't even remember the name of the band.
Oh yeah,
I'm
Sepultura,
like, yeah, I'm like, I'll make a design for you and your 3 friends. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. But I still love that everybody is trying to like contribute to kind of this whole mashing up of metal and rock and roll and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. And I love, like, you can use music as a metaphor for life and jiu-jitsu as a metaphor for life. So I don't think the design ideas are going to go away. I don't think you'll ever run out of design ideas.
No, in fact, I had to slow down. Like I was doing a lot of designs, like to the point where I'm like, I can't even release these fast enough. So I've kind of, just to give you a little hint, I've wanted to do a Stone Temple Pilots one because I love the Purple album. I love. So I was doing research on the Purple album cover, and as you know, Scott Weiland, big heroin addict, right? He chased it his entire life. It was a huge loss. But I'm like, this album means something. What does it mean? I looked it up, and purple is a color of a poppy flower. The dragon that the baby's riding is chasing the dragon, which is heroin. And I'm like, okay, I got to figure out how to make this album cover, but not too controversial. So there's a new design coming out, and nice. I took the Ronin's visage skeleton face, made it the dragon, and my skeleton that's basically become kind of the mascot is riding the Ronin's visage.
Oh, nice.
So that's
okay.
Yeah, that's coming out. That'll be out in September. So it's that's all it's been, is just looking through my favorite albums, getting some feedback from friends, and then just figuring out how to mash up the two.
Yeah, man. What made you start jiu-jitsu? Because you had to. I mean, you've been training. If you're a purple belt, three stripe, let me guess, you're probably in your 6th year.
Yeah, 6th year. I think we all lost a little bit of time during COVID, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody else, I trained underground for a bit, but 6 years. That is a really great question. When I was younger, I was crazy. I mean, I was a dad, but I was still crazy. Had a lot of anger issues, right? Like a lot of people, and was really looking for an outlet to, give myself some purpose, find like-minded people. And I think I've heard you say this as well on one of your podcasts, is I was just looking for something to do. I used to play ice hockey. Wasn't into that. I remember seeing one of the UFCs and I was like, that'd be cool. And, one day I was like, I'm going to do jiu-jitsu. I'm like, this is it.
Cool. Yeah.
I was out at a Jocko event, his first muster that they had. And he actually took us to, everybody that wanted to. He brought us to his gym, and we tried out, he taught us the Oompa into the Americana, which was awesome to have Jocko doing it. And I was like, I want to do this, and I came home, tried it, didn't work out with my schedule. And then my kids started getting older, and I found myself sitting on the couch, and I was like, my buddies, I could either one start binge watching TV, eating a bag of Doritos, which I get it. I mean, I love to do that every once in a while, but
I was going to say,
not
which is awesome. I'm just saying.
It is. It is great, but maybe use that as a treat after you've been to jiu-jitsu,
right?
Or go drinking with your buddies,
Yeah.
or and none of those things really appealed to me anymore. I really wanted to take this next step in my life. So, you asked my coach Brad. He was talking about it at my wedding. He's like, "You walked in, and I knew you were a lifer."
I love it. Yeah.
And I was hooked immediately. Like most people, I love the people. I love that I get to see my friends who are my jiu-jitsu friends as many times as I want. And I go there and we simulate murder on each other in a padded room, and we all laugh. And, these are people that are going to my wedding. They flew all the way to the Dominican to hang out, and probably my closest friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that wild, man? In such a short period of time, they become like family. To you. It's really
they
cool.
really do. There's a buddy of mine, Eric. I remember talking to him about jiu-jitsu years ago, and it's scary. Let's be honest, right? The first time you walk in there, you're like, okay, they're all sweating on each other.
Yeah.
They are, grabbing each other, throwing each other on the ground. You don't know who these are. Some of these guys are a lot bigger than you.
Yeah.
And I remember rolling with, you roll with big people. You have no choice after a while. And the fact that you're trusting somebody that you really don't know. I mean, you don't know them after class. That you don't know what they do.
Yep.
You know a little bit about them, but you're trusting them to not hurt you is something in a relationship. Like, you're being very vulnerable with those people, and you end up. I'm not surprised you create these great bonds, because at the end of the day, A, you've sweated on them, maybe in their eye or directly into their mouth, right? B, you're trusting them to not hurt you.
Yeah.
For a couple of hours a week. So it's kind of like this instant bond with these people that you create.
Yeah. There's a lot of oh gosh, like, how should I put this? It's like the ultimate trust fall, right? I mean, honestly, when somebody's got your gi wrapped around your neck and they're cranking on you on it, and as soon as you tap, that all goes away. That takes a high level of trust to let people into that world. And there are people that, how should I put this, that I love rolling with and hate rolling with all at the same time, because sometimes they're a little mean and sometimes they're a little brutal, but that means I get to be mean and brutal back. So that's kind of cool, right? I mean, there's some people that I can grind my face into their eye socket, and others that I can't, and I've learned that along the way, who's who. So that's a lot of fun too.
It is. And then there's sometimes I play a lot of half guard, right? I get it. I'm older. I love half guard, having my back on my side. I feel very comfortable there. Yep. It's like, it's safe, but like, you're under these big guys. Think about that. I mean, and they could literally, it wouldn't take much to crack a rib, right? We all know that floating rib, you can feel it sometimes. You're like, okay, it's getting a little, it's bending pretty big. But it is, you're trusting them. And how about takedowns? You're sitting there letting somebody throw you on the ground. Yeah. Pretty hard. Yeah. And I get up, I got to go to work. I got to get on video calls with customers. I can't be, I mean, it is cool every once in a while to have a black eye, but you start showing up to work a little much like that, and folks start questioning. So I think it is that bond that you create of just being vulnerable and trusting this person to not hurt you that ends up creating these great friendships. Yeah.
And when I first started, when I was, white, bright blue and purple, we had a super, super competitive team, and that kind of ebbs and flows. Like, sometimes you have a lot of competitors, and sometimes you have two people competing for a while, and, and some people leave or whatever. But when we were like at that level where we were competing a lot, I was traveling to Vegas with 20 of my best friends. San Jose, we took 25 people to San Jose. We went to New York. We did the New York Open one year. Like 6 of us went, and that we created those bonds. And I always tell my students, like the team, I always tell them, like, be grateful for this moment, because this team will never be together again. Because if you go back to the pictures, right, it's not a jiu-jitsu class unless there's a picture, but if you go back to those group pictures, I always play the like, who's still rolling? Like, I'm like, nope. Yep. Nope.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
very few people are still around.
It is true. And, one of the things that, going back to what you were saying is, I mean, how many times have you been rolling and you're underneath somebody and you're like, I don't want to be here. Why did I come to class today? I have a couple of buddies I roll with. I am really, I'm really grateful. I get to roll with a lot of black belts. We have a lot of black belts at school.
Yeah.
So I get my ass kicked a lot.
Yeah.
But you know what? It makes I don't, we call it like the high ranking belt corner. Like you get trapped in this corner, you don't get out of it. I can see all the other, like some of the blue belts rolling. I'm like, I just want to go over there and maybe have a chance. But it has made me so much of a better jiu-jitsu athlete because every night that I go to roll, I'm rolling against black belts who, yes, you're getting better whether you like it or not. We all know the only way to get better at jiu-jitsu is to do jiu-jitsu, and they're taking the time to help you.
Yeah.
That to me is invaluable, and I think that's one of the things I really love about where I train and jiu-jitsu in general.
Yeah. And as a black belt, as an instructor, as an academy owner, I think one of my favorite things is when one of the lower belts comes up to me and accurately describes the position that they were in and how I got my finish. And they're like, how did you get from there to there? And I'm like, ooh, okay, this guy gets it. And I love just nerding out with them because I know they study. I know they understand. It's almost as good as a white belt pulling off the move of the day. That's my favorite thing in the world. White belts, if you do the move of the day, I'm in love. Like I go home on a cloud. But yeah, when you, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well with one of the lower belts, they come to you and they're like, hey, you had me in this position and then I turn this way, you turn that way. When the majority of students, and I don't mean to crap on anybody, but the majority of students like, oh, I just got my butt kicked. I don't know what happened, and then you're like, okay, well, we can't really work with those generalities, but those little specific movements are so much fun to nerd out on.
Yeah, you're right. So, now that I've been a purple belt for a little bit, and I remember one of the lower belts came up and was like, I was in this move and same thing. You pulled this off and it was a butterfly sweep. Yeah. I love sweeps, right? I honestly, any lower belts listening, I wish I would have spent more times on sweeps when 100%. I was a lower belt and less time trying to, hit submissions. But now I love two things. I love guard passing and I love sweeps. Came up to me and it's like, I had you, and then you just pulled off this move, and next thing you know, I was on my back. I was like, yeah, I hit you with a butterfly sweep. I was setting it up the whole time.
Yeah.
But he's like, can you show me how to do it? And I literally left class that night, and I had the biggest smile.
It's great, man. Yeah.
It is a great feeling that, that you're able to everyone's passing on more knowledge and wanting each other to get better. That's the other thing. Yeah. That's one thing I've never experienced. I played lacrosse. I played hockey, like I said, and I don't know if there's a sport outside of jiu-jitsu that there may be where everyone is encouraging everyone to get better, which is amazing.
Yeah, so we do a new student orientation every 3 weeks. So new guys coming in, they can kind of get off on the right foot. And I always tell them like you're not guests here, like you guys are family. And my job is to get you as good as possible in as little time as possible so you can help me get better. And they look at me like, yeah, whatever. But when they get their blue belt, like they understand, like they are helping you, right? They are giving me different looks and they are making me better. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, there's Monday night's a big night for us at class, and there's nothing better than the end of Monday night class, and there's sweat angels everywhere.
Yeah.
And you're trying to shake hands at the end, and your hands are on your knees, and you're like, okay, let me stand up straight for a little bit. Like, there's no better feeling than that. To me, that is it. I've let everything go. I'm setting the tone for the week, and I look around and I'm like, maybe we sit on the ground and chat for a little bit, or maybe I get in my car and sometimes I forget how to drive and it takes a couple of minutes because it rolls so hard. But what other sport are you going to give that? And as a hobbyist, think about that. We are like, I'm not a professional, I don't want to be a professional jiu-jitsu athlete. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a friend. I have a job. Like, this is a hobby, and folks are getting to such high level workouts and learning so many moves. It's no wonder why it's so addictive.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And like you, I knew like pretty much my first week that I wanted to do this for the rest of my life. Like, I didn't want to climb Everest. I didn't want to swim the English Channel. I didn't want to do any of that crap. I want to do jiu-jitsu. So I immersed myself. Do you find yourself like, I know you got a lot going on, but do you find yourself like in that immersive state where maybe you're not at the academy all the time, but you're like studying or you're reading or you're nerding out and doing all that kind of stuff? Tell me about that. Like, how hard is it to balance that? You know how they call it work life, but I got work life jiu-jitsu, right? Take any one of those three away from me and I'm a mess. So how do you,
like during COVID, I remember I was so angry because I couldn't do jiu-jitsu. You forget what it's like. But so I'm one of those people, I get pretty obsessed with things. Like I remember probably 10 years ago, I woke up one day and I was like, I'm gonna do an Ironman triathlon. And my ex-wife were like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go buy. I didn't even own a bike, right? Nice. I was like, I'm gonna do this. I couldn't swim, taught myself how to swim. Anyway, blew my calf out, didn't get to do it. But the same thing with jiu-jitsu. I hate going to class not having a plan, right? And I think a lot of people can relate to this. Sometimes you have no choice, right? Maybe the day was busy, but you wanted to get to class. Like, I personally want to get to class and I want to try something. Like lately, I've been working on octopus guard or reach around, right? So I will try to study 15 minutes a day, whether that's just hitting YouTube videos, maybe it's some instructional, for what I'm doing right now, a lot of Craig Jones stuff. But I try to at least on the days I'm doing jiu-jitsu, I will do at least 15 minutes. And even it might be just watching something before I go to class and be like, okay, I'm going to try that.
I love it.
I wish I had more time of the day, but I literally have like a little habit tracker. It's so bad.
I do too. Yeah, you
do? Nice. Good.
I keep it on my desk at the academy, but yes, I have it and it stares at me, and so.
Yeah, so it's like, did I drink 32 ounces of water? That's the other thing. Like, if you're going to do jiu-jitsu, you better be hydrated, right? So I'm like, did I drink water? Did I do 20 minutes of meditation? Did I do 15 minutes of instructional preparation? But I think it's almost like you're studying, but you don't really think you're studying. It's kind of like, all right, cool. This is, I want to be able to try this. So for me, it is, I try to do at least, I'll set a timer too. I'll be like, I'm going to set this timer. I'm getting 15 minutes in, and then this is all I'm going to work on in class. And I'll put myself in that same position throughout class until, guard passing, great example. I remember do you know who Kent Peters is? The guy that does Supernatural. Oh, he's great. You can reach out to him.
Yeah.
He was like, all I want you to do, he's like, I remember when I got to purple, I kind of had imposter syndrome, like a lot of people didn't know. I was like, I don't deserve this. And I remember reaching out to him and said, how do I get better now? And he's like, just focus on guard passing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what he meant by that. But then I literally just started doing guard passing, and one, my cardio started getting better.
Yeah.
And two, the rest of my jiu-jitsu game got better because that's all I'm doing. I'm trying, Toriando, I'm trying knee cut, I'm trying all these different, I'm not doing a cartwheel pass. That's never going to happen, but you're trying all these passes, and then next thing you know, everything else is getting better. So you're using your brain.
Yeah.
All the time, jiu-jitsu, which I think is invaluable in life. And it keeps, to me, jiu-jitsu is the fountain of youth. It really is.
So anyway, you were talking about Kent. He was telling you to focus on guard passing, and your cardio got better.
Cardio got better. I was focused every time I went to class, right? I was like, okay, this day, I'm going to try this. I'm going to focus on this for the next 3 weeks. And then the rest of my jiu-jitsu got better as well. Like playing half guard got better because I know what they're trying to do and what their goal is and what their plan B is. And it was amazing. I remember being like, I always loved jiu-jitsu, but it gave me the confidence of like, I would be standing at, let's just say it's a blue belt, and I'm like, pass this guard. You're a purple belt. Pass this guard. Don't be so timid. Like you're supposed to, Brad would not have given you a purple belt if he didn't think you deserved it, which I think is one of the hardest things from jiu-jitsu. Sorry about my dog.
No, that's all right.
But it's one of the hardest things in jiu-jitsu is to like accept the fact that you're excelling, you're getting better. You're going up the belt system. Even if it's not there, you're getting better. and your coaches recognize it. So just embrace it and have fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Can you think of something that you wish you would have done differently when you first started, other than what you mentioned earlier? I believe you mentioned working on sweeping rather than top game. Is there something like specific that you wish, like, gosh, I wish I would have done this differently?
I wish I did. I wish I wouldn't have jumped into competing so early, because I ended up really messing up my shoulder. I remember I was out for almost 7 months.
Whoa.
And it's because I mean, I love to work out, and I was doing jiu-jitsu at the same time. So I was doing 2-a-days. I'm 50 as well. So I was probably 48. I was not listening to my central nervous system, and I was just going and going and going. And I did a tournament. I think maybe I came in second. I don't remember. And my shoulder was just destroyed.
Jacked.
And it was just from overworking. So I wish I would have, but it's hard. I mean, you get the bug and everyone's talking about competing and you're like, I want to compete. But then you go back and you watch the video and you're like, oh,
what was I thinking? Yeah.
What was I thinking? So that's that. And just really fundamentals, sticking with the fundamentals and really working on sweeps and that. So I think those are the two things that no regrets, but I wish when younger or other, newer jiu-jitsu people ask me for advice, that's what I tell them. Like, it's great you want to compete. I get it out of your system, but don't let it be the only reason why you're coming to jiu-jitsu, right? You're going to miss a lot of other fun things about it.
Yeah, we have very, very similar stories. I got into competing really early, maybe like 6 months in. I did my first tournament, huge mistake. I got slaughtered. Second tournament, got slaughtered. Third tournament, I got my first win. I didn't know how to start because I don't have a wrestling background. I'm not a super aggressive person, So I was like, I remember I was rolling with a friend of mine, Daniel Kim, and we were both white belts, but he had 4 stripes on his white belt, so he was a little bit ahead of me. And we shook hands, and I was pretty new. We shook hands, and I said, "Stop." I said, "How do you start?" And he's like, "What?" I said, "How do you start?" He goes like, "I don't know, man. Just grab something." I'm like, okay. But so I had no confidence on my feet. Like, we always started sitting, so that kind of gave me a little, I guess I could do this. But then I'm like, okay, if you're competing and you can't do anything standing, it all starts standing. So what are you going to do? So I started taking the wrestling class in our academy, and it was, let's just say it was a little bit underattended. So a lot of the time I was getting a private lesson with a wrestling coach. So I got really good at one takedown. Like, that's all we focused on, one double leg takedown. And I nailed it at the next tournament. And I think I hurt the guy. I mean, I don't know if I broke his rib, but he couldn't continue. And this is like 30 seconds in. I just picked him up, took him down, and then the referee stopped it because we landed out of bounds. And I went back to center, and I turn around to shake his hand, and he's not there. And he's laying on the ground. I'm like, holy crap, I think I just won.
Oh, wow. You hit a blast double leg.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I blast. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. But that gave me a little confidence going in. Right. But I think, the regret that I have is I took that became a springboard to like, okay, what else do I need to learn to win a tournament? So then I went down that rabbit hole. Like, okay, so I'm in my 40s. These guys aren't expecting me to do this, so I'm going to learn that. And then it worked, and then it worked, and then it worked. And then I get to a point where I'm a purple belt, and I'm doing Jiu-Jitsu World League in LA. Gosh, I can't remember the name of the venue. It was a college. Really cool venue. It was really cool. That's why I keep thinking about that place. It was probably one of the better ones I've been to. But I went against a Clark Gracie purple belt. His name is Clark, I believe. And maybe Scott. Yeah, maybe Scott. So Scott beat the shit out of me. And he mounted me, and I'd never been mounted where I couldn't escape. And then I exploded out of it because I wanted to, I wanted to reverse it. And he armbarred the living crap out of me. And I walked out of there going, oh shit, I don't know fundies. Like, I don't know my fundamentals. Like, I'm not good at escaping pins. And you know what I mean? So
escapes.
So then I just dumbed everything down, man. I literally took a giant step back, and I was like, I have to get really good at this before I start, flipping around and, trying to cartwheel pass. I never did that, by the way, but that kind of thing. And that's one regret that I do have. If I could just have somebody's ear and they were to listen to me, I'd tell them, learn to escape stuff first, right?
Yeah.
And then learn your fundamentals, and then just build that foundation, and then you'll see, you'll just skyrocket to something, you know, to another level.
Yeah, and build your own game. I think that's
Yeah.
right. Like I know it's hard to kind of envision that, but you're gonna pick up really fast what is your game,
Yeah.
right? Whether you're athletic, whether you have more strength, whether it's, you know, you whatever you like, whether it's close guard. I don't know why anybody would want to play close guard, but you know, it's just those things that, and by the way, it's going to change. I mean, right now, like I said, I play a lot of half guard, and you know, this is the system that I'm using, but it could change when I become a brown belt. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I don't see it changing, but embrace it and then just keep stacking on top of it. And I think that's the best part of jiu-jitsu is, yes, you might be great at throwing triangles and maybe that just stops or you just get bored of doing that.
Yeah.
But you know what? Now you have close guard and you have other things that you can set up from there. So, you know, I think that's someone said the number of moves there are in jiu-jitsu, or maybe it was chess, and it was some astronomical number, maybe like in the billions or something like that. And when you kind of step back and think about that, it's choose your own adventure in jiu-jitsu.
It is.
Like,
yeah.
What you want to do today may not be what you do next week or next month. And oh yeah, by the way, don't worry about it. You can, if you're a hobbyist, it doesn't work, no one's critiquing you. The only one is your inner critic, right? Then you just pick up and try something new. Yeah. And I think that's for me one of the appeals as well for jiu-jitsu is constantly learning over and over again.
Yeah, I tend to implement something every year. You know, because I've got what I love to do, revolves around half guard, a lot of butterfly, some X guard, stuff like that. I like to be under them. But then, you know, I thought, well, what if I started playing with the lapels? So I started implementing some lapel stuff. Hey, you know what? This lasso thing tends to stop big people pretty good. So I started playing a lot of spider lasso, and then I can, it's almost seamless. When I hate to use that word, but you know, I can transition among those guards fairly quickly because I've been using them for so long. And then, like you said, building on top of them. And now it's like, I know when I know when this guard's about to break down. So I was like, okay, bail out to this, boom, go there. Yeah. Bail out to that. And we probably share the same strategy. My strategy, you know, being a little bit older, is to play a solid guard game, frustrate my opponent and sweep them. And then it's on.
100%.
Yeah, that's really
Put
it.
your knee shield in, let them try to run through it. Yep. They're getting tired. Yep. I mean, even the young guys, they'll get tired. Just let them keep running around you and then get the sweep. Now I love side control. I think if you were to ask anybody that rolls with me, they would probably say it's awful under my side control, right? I probably feel like I'm 300 pounds. I make sure my shoulders, you know, turning your chin. But I started playing a lot of mount, and I would literally just hold position for like 3 minutes and just make, you know, just get so good at gluing myself. And that ended up being, I got really good at Ezekiel chokes, right? And now everybody knows the Ezekiel choke. So I'm like, oh, wow, I could do a mounted triangle because they're putting their hands up here. And you don't even realize it. And then you're chaining, right? And you're chaining moves, but you're not like studying a flow chart of how to chain moves. You're learning it yourself from trying. Like, that's the thing with jiu-jitsu. Try it. Like, hey, I miss, if I can't get the mounted triangle, do some nice little break dancing, and now I can drop into a darce, or now I drop into side control, and you finish and you're like, holy crap, I just did that. Like, I'm now chaining moves together, and it's a great feeling, and it builds your confidence up. Yeah.
And then it's always fun when you're rolling with somebody who's like playful like you are, because I'm really playful in my rolls. And, you know, I don't talk trash, but I'll say something like, come on, you got to admit that was pretty cool. And they're like, yeah, that was
My favorite is, that shit's not going to work. Like,
bullshit move, not working.
I'm like, and then every once in a while, I'm like, that's just not going to work. Like, don't. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, or somebody would try to Ezekiel me, and I'm like, you're trying my favorite move on me. It's not going to work. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. It is. I love the rolls I have. There are some people I love to roll with. And the reason why I love to roll with them, we never end up in the same position, which if you think about that is amazing. And There are two of my buddies that I roll with. We are like two brothers in the house. If there were like sheetrock walls, we would probably destroy the walls. But at the end of the roll, it's one of those you're like, God, like you just want to hug them, and be like, I
Yeah.
love rolling with you. It's just so fun, and you're laughing, but you're rolling hard.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you know, I look at my watch. I'm like, man, I burned 500 calories rolling with 100. That's pretty amazing. So I think those are all the things that, if you were gonna like kind of make a chart of why jujitsu is awesome, I know we probably rattled off 20 of them, and it's kind of like just have fun. Like, yes, I mean, yes, you can make a life out of competing on this, but let that happen. Don't force it. Just get in there, and you could be a hobbyist and still have a ton of fun and get better.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, we're living proof that it's never too late to hop in. You know,
no, I mean, look, I'm 50, and like I said, you're 51.
Yeah,
I get out there. I hate younger D1 wrestlers. I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm just like, I'm too tired. Let me slow you down. But you acclimate to your style of game, and you know, these kids are like, wow, I can't believe they're like, I'm like, I could be your dad. I'm like, if you submit me, I could be, would you do this to your dad? I'm like, no, you wouldn't. But think about that. I mean, you're out there competing with and having fun, and you know, getting better with some of these younger kids, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it, man. Hey, tell me about the gi drop.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. So by the way, none of this was supposed to happen in the first year. If you talk to my buddy Adam or anybody, this was a t-shirt company. I was like, I'm not getting into rash guards. Then I ended up hooking up with a guy who created my rash guards, and he did my shorts, and just, I was blown away by, you know, the reviews of people being like, well, first, these are the best t-shirts I've ever had. And then now everybody loves my rash guards. My buddy's like, you got to do a gi. And I was like, God, this is a lot. Like gis, you know, like ordering a gi online is, you know, it's, you're doing your research, and I had one made, and I'm not saying this because it's from my company, but it is the most comfortable gi I've ever worn. And it's very clean, very simple. Just did a couple patches on it. Ripstop, 10-ounce ripstop pants.
Nice.
Really light jacket. I think it's 280. You know, I'm terrible at numbers sometimes, but it's nice and light. But it is just, I let one of my buddies wear it the other night, and he's like, when are these coming in? I can't wait to get one. So I'm just really excited about, you know, getting this first gi. I'm going to do a black one. I want to do a black one that has this really cool, like, gray yarn in it. I really like some of the gis that really focus on the stitching on them. Right. So my gis are never going to have a ton of patches on them. If that's your thing, that's fine. It's just going to be your gi. My gis are going to be very simple, minimalist, but really comfortable to wear. And I want you to be able to throw your gi into the dryer and not have to worry about it, you know, coming out and you have to give it to a kid because it's right. I want you to, with all my products, I'll be honest with you. I want everybody to wear my stuff. It's affordable. It's, if you like it and you like the concept of it, this is something that I've really grown to love. And I just want to share with everybody. And the gi, August drop. Oh, by the way, in August is going to be the Trooper rash guard, which I cannot wait for.
That's cool.
Yeah, that one came out really cool. So yeah, the gi will be out, and hopefully everybody will give it a shot and see that, you know, I don't have to you don't have to break the bank to get a good gi.
Yeah. I'm just writing down the date. August for the Trooper rash guard and the gi.
Yeah. And yeah. So probably middle August. It's probably about a month. Takes a little bit to pull them together. But I have one. Anybody who's around the area, they want to give it a test drive, just shoot me a note. I'll be happy to let you borrow it and take it out for it. And if you're in the Raleigh area of North Carolina, I have no problem with that. And then it's September. We're going to be doing some more hoodies. I got a really cool design I've been waiting to do for a guy up in Virginia. He did it for me. It's kind of a little play on a sumo wrestler, and a guy looks like Gene Simmons in a yin and a yang. So it's going to be
that's cool.
I like to do I'm really dialing in on these rash guards that are not your typical. I mean, everybody loves a black rash guard,
Yep.
right? But I'm really trying to do some other colors, like the Trooper one. I'm going to be honest with you right now. The inspiration came from the Patriots uniform. Now, I hate the Patriots. I'll be honest with you. I'm sure other people will as well.
Yeah.
But hear me out. Taking that color combo and thinking about the Trooper album cover of what it stood for, it looks cool. So that's what you're going to keep seeing from me, is just pushing these whole concept of different colors in our rash guards, so we get away from just the straight black. That's my idea.
No, it's a great idea. It's a great idea. But I think black is like pretty safe. So I really dig what you're doing about just, pushing the envelope a little bit with your designs. I think that's cool.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I mean, I'm always going to have a black rash guard. And by the way, it's so funny. Yes, I know the rash short sleeve and long sleeve, never realized it was a debate. This feels like the Coke wars back in the day with Pepsi and Coke. Some people love the long sleeve. Some people wear the short sleeve. So my goal now is I will always have one long sleeve, right? Right now it's the Grappling Groove, which was based on the old CBGB logo that I took. And then most of the rash guards are going to be short sleeve, because people love to wear them under their gi, and they get hot with a long sleeve. I don't wear rash guard under my gi. I don't know if you do.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Really? It's so hot.
It's freaking hot. And I'm in Arizona.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I've tried it and I was like, I can't do this.
I've always thought about what a design would look like, or what would it feel like of having like a 3/4 sleeve instead of going all the way down to the wrist.
Like a baseball shirt.
Yeah.
Like a baseball tee.
Because what I find is, for me, it's a touch thing. Like, I don't like touching things. So that's why I probably wear the rash guard. But I also don't like it in no-gi when somebody grabs my wrist. They have that friction from the rash guard at the wrist. Mm-hmm. So I thought maybe if it was shorter, I could have the advantage of having sweaty arms and their grip slip. And I have that don't touch me thing going on below the elbow.
I may have to see if we can produce one.
Oh,
my only concern would be if it rolls up. Like,
yes.
Then people are gonna be like, this gi, so it's gonna have to be a little tighter here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll give it a shot.
I've always thought like that for me, that would be like a good solution to all my head trash that I carry. So
you've always worn a rash guard under your gi?
Yeah, always have. Well, for a while, my instructor wasn't like, he wasn't like, he didn't make it a mandatory thing, but then after a while he's like, I want all the guys wearing rash guards. I'm like, okay. And then I just kept wearing it. So now when I compete, it kind of feels weird. So I won't wear one like a few days before competition, just so I can feel what the gi feels like. And I don't like it, but it like they're good. I have a really good gi guy, and so it's just because I wear that rash guard that I don't feel it against my skin all the time, and it just feels weird whenever I compete. Like, it's in my brain. So, yeah.
Oh, look, there are people that I have a couple friends at the gym. They're like, you don't wear a rash guard? And I'm like, I've tried it so many times. Yeah. I've tried long sleeve, I tried short sleeve, and I sweat too much. It's just
yeah,
gross,
man.
But,
hey,
I don't know. The 3/4 sleeve might be a new revolution,
right?
In the rash guard game.
I might just cut one. I might just cut one of my old ones, see what it feels like.
Oh, don't do that. Then it's gonna be
it'll
be doing this. Yeah, it'll be like when you're a kid trying to put on a winter jacket and your sweatshirt would roll up.
Yeah, man. Hey, tell me about your relationship with the PGF.
Oh yeah, so Brandon McGaffrin.
Yeah.
God, I love that guy. I mean, who doesn't like him?
Yeah. I want to get him on the show. I screwed up. My life went haywire when I started contacting him, but I want to get him on the show. Yeah,
just a super nice guy. I was doing a lot of sponsorships when I first started. I was just trying to get the word out. Yeah. I had no idea what I was doing, and I saw the PGF, and I had caught a couple of matches, and I was like, "This is really cool." And had been a fan of his, so I just sent him a message. I'm like, "How can I help?" And he's like, "Call me." And I was
nice.
I'm like, it was kind of like one of those things that I feel like he's a celebrity in the jiu-jitsu world.
He
right?
is.
So
he is. Yeah.
I'm like, fuck it. I'll just call him. So I call him. He's driving and he's like, tell me about GenXrefined. And I'm like, I literally like froze for a second. Like, oh, man. So I go through, I give him the spiel and I said, I really want to help you guys. I said, I think this is really cool. I mean, some of the athletes I had been following and just said, he's like, well, I really can't do much for you because it was literally the day or 2 days before the final season. And he said, well, how about if we just do some in-show advertising? And I was like, anything you could do.
Yeah.
So I, donated some money that went to the fighters, and they stopped. If you watch, it was 2 years ago, and they do this they go on my website, they're talking about GenXrefined,
Nice.
and I'm just sitting there and I was just like, holy cow. Like it was absolutely amazing. And from that became the Even Flow, which is one of my best selling rash guards and designs. But I remember he's like, if he gets we love GenXrefined for what they've done, but some of their designs are awesome. And Brandon's a big Pearl Jam fan. He's like, if he does a Pearl Jam shirt, I'll definitely wear it. And that night I was like brainstorming. I'm like, what can I do? And I was like, my buddy's like, Even Flow. And I was like, you're right. And then thoughts arise by butterflies. I'm like, oh, butterfly guard. And then boom.
Ooh, I love it.
So send him one. He's like, this is crazy. And he's just been a great friend to the brand. I had a chance to do PGF again this year, but as a company, I kind of mandated no sponsorships this year because I wanted to give back, use those funds to give back to the brand itself, get more designs, go with the gi. But yeah, we stay in touch. If you see him sometimes, he'll be wearing. He's a great guy, and I still haven't met him, but I'm dying to go down there and roll with him down in Alabama. But yeah, so we've just kind of created this friendship of he's helped out the brand, and I helped PGF a little bit.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of yours. I'm a fan of the brand, and I'm going to be one of your loyal customers. I just got turned on to it by Colin, my buddy Colin. He wore your shirt on episode 100.
I know on episode 100.
Yeah.
So funny thing about Colin is he has the Grateful Ground Game shirt, which is another one of my favorite shirts. Which again, something so simple, right? Grateful Dead, Dancing Bears, and he inspired me to. We're doing a Grateful Dead rash guard tie-dye, liquid blue, which if you're a Grateful Dead fan, you know about the liquid blue tie-dye.
Yeah.
So we're doing a rash guard. So he wants the prototype. So he's all excited. That. But yeah, he's been there since the beginning. And it's just, I have to be honest with you, like when you start something like this, I had no idea what I was doing, right? I mean, this is like anything else, just go at it full force, and you start having messages from people. And Colin was one of those people right from the beginning. He's like, these are awesome designs. Keep going.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful that, he introduced us and got me on here today. I'd love to come down there and train and do this in person one of these days.
Dude, come out. If you get a chance, I don't care. I don't care what it takes, dude. Let's make it happen. I'd love to get you in the studio. Maybe me, you, Colin, and my other buddy Tojo. We could get in and just talk, man, because we're all artists in our own little way, but you're really putting something special together, man. That blend of music and jiu-jitsu is like so cool. So
let's plan on it. My best friend lives in Tempe, so
oh gosh, okay.
Yeah, definitely love to come down. And we could train, do some jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Go talk about jiu-jitsu. I'd love to do it. Definitely. I'm definitely down for that.
Yeah. I do not want you coming here before October or after February because it starts to suck. It starts to
I know.
Actually, March and April are good. It starts to get a little warmish and it just drives me crazy. But
yeah, my birthday is in November.
Okay.
I do come down. My cousin lives down there too. So I do love that. They like that, right before Thanksgiving and Christmas, that area, it always seems like a good time. Like the weather's perfect. There.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah.
I've trained down there a few times. I used to go down there for work. Like I'm that guy when I would travel for work. my gi was always in my suitcase, which always was fun trying to get home with that. It's like, what do you do with the gi?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and when back in my corporate job days, I would travel for like a 3-day sales, blah, blah, blah. And I'd have like a full size suitcase and like, what are you moving? Are you moving there? What's going on? But I had 2 gis in there. I always travel at least 1 gi.
Someone once said shower in it after class, and I was like, I am
Nah.
not doing that. Then you have a 400-pound gi that you
Yeah.
have to get home, soaking wet. But
Yeah, you definitely want to dry it as best you can before you throw it in the suitcase, but it's got to go in the suitcase.
But by the way, hotels have washer and dryers.
Yes, they do.
Throw it in there.
Yeah.
So, but I do. I really appreciate you. I mean, this is it. I mean, I wish I could do this all day. Just sit around, talk to music, hang out with cool people. So again, I really thank you for reaching out.
Yeah, man.
Tell Colin I said thank you, and hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah, man. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media and your website and all that, and just fire away.
Yeah. So at GenXrefined is the Instagram, obviously on Facebook as well. And then GenXrefined.com is the website. And hopefully you follow along. Shoot me messages if you have ideas. I love ideas. Tell me that something sucks. I can take criticism as well. But just, I try to put out some awesome designs at a really fair price so that everybody can get quality gear and wear really cool stuff that no one else is wearing. So again, GenXrefined.com, and thanks again.
Cool, brother. Well, listen, man, it's been awesome. Can't wait to meet you in person. And are you going to go to Master Worlds, or are you going to Vegas?
I'm not.
Okay. We'll have to do it some other way.
I was thinking of going to for the ADCC and Craig Jones thing, but I don't know. I got a lot going on. We're traveling a bit, so I got to see.
Gotcha, man. Well, Mike, thank you for being on, man, and we'll get you on again, man. If you get another drop, hit me up, and we'll put you right back on the show.
All right, great. Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. Take care. All right, everybody. If you love the podcast or if you hate the podcast, please like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube. We need more people to subscribe. So please hit the subscribe button whenever you watch our stuff. And it's been great, and I can't wait to see more stuff out of GenXrefined.com. This episode of the BJJ Foxcast is brought to you by BioPro. BioPro is an all-natural alternative to prescription human growth hormone, which aids in recovery, anti-aging, metabolism, libido, immunity, skin health, cognition, sleep, and stress. Just 1 vial per day provides a substantial boost to all of these growth factors. Okay, so that's what they want me to say. Here's what I know as an aging grappler. I've been using BioPro Plus and the nighttime variant, BioPro Plus Cortisleep, for several months, and it feels like I've grown a 3rd lung. My gas tank is noticeably bigger. My recovery is faster, and I'm back on the mats much quicker, not just between training sessions, but between rounds. Now you can get $30 off your first order of BioPro when you use the code FOXCAST at www.bioproteintech.com. That's code FOXCAST for $30 off your first order at www.bioproteintech.com. Thank you, BioPro.